So there was this show growing up called Crashbox. It was an educational show from the early 2000s. I barely remember the show, to be honest. I haven't seen it in years. It could be trash. All I have are faint memories of mini games and robots. Lucky for me, the whole series is available on HBO Max. So come along with me as I go through all 18 Crashbox segments. Let's start with a classic. Distraction News! Basically, Dora, that's her, gives you information about a random topic. It is up to you to pay attention and try not to get distracted. It was one of the easier segments in my opinion. The distractions never bothered me, but Dora never blinking, that was more distracting than anything.
I have special eyes.
Another classic was Lego Man! It was a mathematic puzzle game hosted by Professor Rocket, one of my favorite character designs. In the game, you're given a 3-value math problem, but instead of numbers, you're given pictures and phrases. This means that you have to turn each picture into a number, as well as solve the math problem using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Yeah, this was one of the tougher games, and some of the values were really random, like how many days did it rain on Noah's Ark, or asking for the number of the original states in the Union in 1976. It's a classic, but it wasn't my favorite. Good old Poop and Scoop.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Let me explain. It's a true or false game about animals with a carnival theme. Poop meaning false and scoop meaning true. So if you had the question, do koalas eat shit? You would answer scoop, meaning true because they actually eat shit. After the game, you're given a ranking based on how well you did. If you got one right, you're a party pooper. But if you got them all right, you're a super duper pooper scooper. The gimmick was kinda lame, but I remember enjoying it. The segment, not poop. Haunted House Party was one of my favorites. It's a historical Guess Who style of game. The party guests would arrive, and amidst conversation, they would give clues about who they are. It's simple but fun, especially if you're a history lover like I was. One of my least favorite segments was Captain Bones. His games were math-based. He would make math problems out of his bones, but they were always wrong. So you would have to fix the problem by only moving 1 or 2 of his bones. I didn't mind the math problems, I just hated Captain Bones. He would constantly berate you for taking too long, or God forbid you get one wrong.
Get your crustacean sucking knock-kneed squid face.
Fuck you, bitch! Shut the fuck up, bitch!
Radio Scramble was a segment I never really cared for as a kid. All you do is unscramble the words and song lyrics that come through the radio. It wasn't bad, they were just more engaging segments in my opinion. However, the character design of the host, Jumping Johnny Jumble, was pretty good. Next, we have another Guess Who style of game, with the host, Eddie Bull, which is a play on edible because they eat him every game. What a terrible life to live. The goal was to figure out which animal ate him. He gives you hints and clues inside the animal, such as the animal's appearance and the habitat they live in. The game was cool, but the best part was the theme song. I have mixed feelings with the Revolting Slob. I remember liking the game aspect. It's a vocabulary game. A narrator would give you 3 words, and you would have to pick the best one describing the situation. Or the slob. I f***ing hate the slob. I mean, look at this disgusting bitch. Sitting there eating his damn beans. God, the sight of him just makes me feel unclean. I need a f***ing shower. So fucking ugly. The best part about the segment is that every episode he dies. Sketchpad was one of those segments I don't remember seeing that much. All I remember is the music and his voice. It was ASMR-like.
Just cause you got eyes doesn't mean you always see.
It was basically a riddle game with pictures. He would give you a story or situation, and the goal is to find the missing detail he didn't mention. For example, a man walks into a diner asking for a glass of water. The waitress pulls out a scary mask, and the man says thank you and leaves. Why? Because he has the hiccups. Think Tank with Captain Bob was an old favorite. I don't know how, but Captain Bob got stuck in a tank trying to get back to Jamaica. and now he passes the time by giving out riddles. He would give you 3 objects, and you had to figure out what they all had in common before the time runs out or his tank drains, killing him in the process. Fun fact, Captain Bob is voiced by Greg Eagles, who also plays Sketchpad, Grim from Billy and Mandy, and Aku Aku from the Crash series. The more you know. Ear We Are was a listening game where 2 ears are trying to figure out where they are in the world. It's just as lame as it sounds. And my least favorite out of all the segments. It was just boring. I felt the same way about 10 seconds. Another classic, just not a favorite. The game was to guess the phrase through wordplay, like life on Mars or head in the clouds. The host was a disembodied voice that was way too excited.
10 seconds!
It had its moments, but I'd rather watch something else, like Riddle Snake. Riddle Snake was another favorite growing up. I thought his design was so cool. It reminded me of Arbok from Pokemon, because they look so similar. He's portrayed to be mysterious and wise, and also a human charmer, I guess? Like the name suggests, it's a riddle game. The snake would give you a riddle, and you had 60 seconds to solve it. I liked riddles and brain teasers as a kid, so this was my shit. And I never got a riddle wrong.
Weird flex.
Word Shake was one of those segments I didn't catch often. I barely know anything about it besides he's French, and he's live action, which is weird.
He's the wrong shape.
A shape is wrong.
Apparently, it's a word game. He gives you 2 to 3 words or letters that you must combine to form a new word, like the letter D and the letter K combine, giving you the word DK. Or mini soda, giving you Minnesota. It's not bad, but I can do without the French accent.
He's a little tricky because I have a strong French accent, so listen carefully.
Page and Sage is another segment I barely remember. It's a spot the difference game where 2 identical Barbie dolls are in a seemingly identical world, with 10 slight differences. The goal is to spot the 10 differences before time runs out. Nothing special, to be honest. I loved the mugshot game. It was kind of like Among Us, but not at all. It's a detective-style mystery game. The detective named Verity will show you a group of suspects. Each one gives you a description as to where they were and what they were doing during the crime. But only one of them is innocent while the others are guilty. And you gotta spot the differences in their stories. It was a lot of fun, and it's the closest I got to be a detective. I think it still holds up. Liz McCracken, similar to Mugshot, was a detective-style game, but it focused on puzzles and pictures. He would show you 3 pictures, and the catch was that they were all extremely zoomed in. The goal is to guess the 3 items in the pictures and solve the case. Now let me tell you why this was stupid. He had a machine called the Solutionator that would resize the pictures for him anyway. What did he need our help for? Dirty Pictures is the last one on the list. It is the shortest segment, and it is the only one without dialogue. I have faint memories of this, like I remember what it sounds like, if that makes sense. And the security guard. I can never forget the security guard. The game takes place in a museum, closed for cleaning. A maid would dust off parts of a portrait of a historical figure. An old security guard would hold up cue cards in between with other clues. The goal was to guess the picture before the name gets revealed. It was okay. It kind of reminds me of Nickelodeon's Get the Picture.
It's time for Crashbox Rewind, where we flashback through the show and remind you how smart you really are.
And there you have it, all 18 Crashbox segments. Was it as good as I remember? Not really. That's not saying it's bad. There are a lot of segments I believe still hold up to this day, but nothing can beat the first time experience. Think Tank, Haunted House Party, Riddle Snake, and Mugshot being personal favorites. Crashbox is a unique take on children's media, and there will never be another show like it. But you don't have to take my word for it.